Well, if he's dead, I don't suppose he's going anywhere. Probably we should have a milkshake, maybe some curly fries, ponder all future moves. We may solve this thing yet.
Hey guys, it's Ryan, and I'm breaking down Fargo Season 3, Episode 3, The Law of Non-Contradiction. Now, before I get started, please do me a favor, hit like, hit subscribe, and join me in the comments. I want to hear what you guys think of this show. Episode 3 marks the biggest departure from the Fargo that we're accustomed to seeing. The most notable differences are the setting, scope, and style. Gone are the ice-cold snowscapes of Minnesota, and instead we're transported to Southern California. The episode serves to fill in the gaps of Ennis Stussey's, or Thaddeus Mobley's, backstory. Just our luck, because we get another glimpse of the 1970s as we did in Season 2 of Fargo.
You are the cheddar kid. Get used to it.
Wait, the what?
You know, you're the cheddar, the cheese. Howard Zimmerman, producer.
I don't know about you guys, but I thoroughly enjoyed every minute of this. Just being a fly on the wall during Mobley's flirtation with Hollywood was extremely rewarding, despite it not having a larger impact on the show's plot. George Zimmerman, the producer behind the devious con job, was a highlight. He should also look familiar to fans of 2009's A Serious Man. I love how this show continues to pull from the Coen brothers' vast talent pool.
Mr. Beatty, for you, sir.
Warren, mi amigo, mi compadre. Yeah, all right, don't tell me, let me guess. You read it? You loved it. Am I lying?
Admit it, you laughed at that Warren Beatty reference as well. The Hollywood legend would have just starred in Shampoo and The Fortune around this time. Anyways, the talented, young, and exceedingly naive Mobley begins his dark fall fueled by a whole bunch of cocaine, a lover with great acting chops, and the empty promise of making it big in the City of Angels. It quickly turns dark, chaotic, and quite violent, and we find out how Zimmerman landed in the hospital, and how Mobley became Ennis Stussey, and also how closely he was to becoming Dennis Stussey. Onto the scope and point of view of the episode, it's basically just two storylines. That's it. We're completely removed from what's going on in Minnesota, and we can focus on Gloria's trip to LA while concurrently learning of Mobley's backstory.
I know he was writing a movie for you, and then I don't know, something happened.
Something happened, you're damn right. It failed. He was a failure.
The dichotomy of Minnesota and Los Angeles law enforcement was notable, hysterical, and likely exaggerated by 2010 standards. But I completely welcomed it because of Rob McElhenney's performance as the Tinder-swiping douchebag in blue. Would he really make fun of a fellow officer just because of her accent? Probably.
You want 2 beers?
Think I'll just have a Diet Pop.
Diet Pop. You're too much.
As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, the style in Episode 3 reminded me of another Noah Hawley production more than it did of Fargo itself, namely that animation used to bring Mobley's The Planet Y to life. It immediately reminded me of Legion, which used a similar sequence to fill in some of the backstory and send X-Men fans into a frenzy.
I can help!
Much like the android Minsky, Gloria traveled miles from home to collect information. It's her mission to find the truth behind her stepfather's murder. She believed her investigation of Thaddeus Mobley would shed some light on why he was murdered in Minnesota, but it turns out that there isn't much connection at all.
No. It's just a story. None of this has anything to do with it.
That's not to say it didn't provide some enlightenment and closure for Gloria. As she mentioned earlier in the season, they weren't really family. Ennis moved to Minnesota in 1980 and was married to her mom for 4 short years. She didn't really know him that well, but she finally realized his dream and his ultimate downfall. So Thaddeus Mobley's story came to a bitter end, much like that helpful little android that he wrote about. His story never made it to the big screen, and her trip to LA never connected the dots, but it served to help Gloria understand the stepfather she barely knew. Episode 3 ended back in cold Minnesota on a more optimistic note.
Arby's?
Okay.
You just appear every time a person says Arby's?
Oh, are you guys going for Arby's?
Maybe.
Fast food aside, Gloria has found a bit of peace. She's back home and closing this chapter in her life. But that's not to say she won't continue to find the truth. Just as quickly as her and her son lay Ennis to rest, new life is brought back into the investigation. She quickly finds out that Maurice's fingerprints were found at the murder scene. We know that he too fell victim to another murder and that it was no accident at all. Gloria has a whole new mission ahead of her, just after she fills up on that Arby's milkshake and fries. Guys, thank you for watching. Do me a favor and hit subscribe. We're gonna break down the entire season of Fargo. But also, let me know what you thought of this episode. Did you enjoy the trip to LA, or did you miss some of the characters back in Minnesota? Let me know what you think. I'll see you next week for episode 4's breakdown.